When you're in entrepreneurship and you're looking to build a business, it's all about the relationships that you build along the way. And I think people really discredit and push that to the side. They get into this mentality of, I want to be a millionaire. I want to sell. Why are you doing that? Are you in it for the money or are you in it for the impact?
Welcome to the Raquel Show. This podcast is for entrepreneurs who want to play bigger in business and in life. Today, I have someone extremely influential to my journey and kind of helped me start my podcast. Him and his wife were my coaches in a mastermind when I was learning all things about how to market yourself on social media. He's a 3 times best-selling author, a top podcaster and speaker, award-winning online marketer, and welcome to the show, Scott Aaron.
Hey, Raquel, great to be here. And it's honored to be a part of your podcast and so excited that you have one now.
I am so excited to have this conversation because I remember having all the crazy questions. And as newbies, you're like, is this a dumb question? Is this crazy? So I really want to dive in. And you have all this talent for helping entrepreneurs build their personal brand online. Why do you think that that's important? And how does that impact somebody's business today?
Well, I think you have to pay attention to what's going on in the marketplace, especially in the last 2 years, the landscape of how people are gaining business, gaining visibility, connecting with people. You have to look at where is all of that happening. And yes, there's still some in-person belly to belly and shoulder rubbing going on. Like that still happens. But for the majority of business owners, they're spending their time online. That's where people are from a consumer standpoint, from a customer standpoint. That's where they're spending their time. So the one thing that I always focus on, and the one thing that my wife and I always encourage and want other people to think about, is not the sole purpose of why you're doing what you're doing. It's putting yourself in the shoes of the client or the customer or the consumer, the end result, so to speak. What is that person doing? Where are they spending their time? And what is your offering? So if there's a need of what you're having to offer the marketplace, and it's going to be most widely available online, whether it's via social media, whether it's through an email list, whether it's housed on your website, drop shipping, whatever. Building that online brand and that online presence is going to make or break your business opportunity, because it's all about getting eyeballs, but the right eyeballs on what you're doing. So if you don't have a nucleus or a home base, so to speak, of where to send someone, whether that is a website, whether that is a landing page or a free download, your business is invisible. And if you really want to make it, especially in today's market, you have to build that online brand and that marketing strategy so people are clear exactly who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
That's so good. And you said a lot of nuggets in there that I would just want to quickly unpack. You know, it's so necessary. And people talk about this digital currency and building this visibility. What advice would you give to somebody that's really trying to build their visibility and credibility online?
Hire a coach, because if I could rewind the tape years ago, I started coaching with people 9 years ago now. I've been, either in masterminds or coaching one-on-one or group coaching programs. The teacher's always the student. And there's so much information out there. It's overwhelming. And it's literally online overload with people right now, because it's never been so easy to find out something that you need to learn and know for your business. The other big problem is that people end up getting squirrel brain because they start focusing on too many things at once. They're focusing on their email campaign, their landing page, their website, their social media presence, all these things. So you end up starting and stopping. And then you get into analysis paralysis and you end up getting nothing done and your business hasn't moved anywhere forward. So I always suggest to people, if the money is there, if you can make that financial investment, make that investment in yourself, in someone else that can teach you and show you exactly what needs to be done. Now, this is not a shortcut. It's to shorten the learning curve, and there's a big difference. No one's looking for shortcuts of how to do this. You want to shorten that learning curve so you can get to where that person is, because again, you're looking to hire that individual that has already paved the way for you to get to where you want to be. They've already solved the problem for themselves, which means they can solve it for you. And all they're doing is guiding you down that path that they went down. That's why you invest in masterminds and coaches. That's why I and Nancy and I invest in mastermind and coaches still, because you never truly figure it all out. And, full transparency, our business has continued to, double and sometimes triple year to year because we've always defined an area of improvement that we need. So you may look outside looking in, you may see what people are doing online. You're like, oh my God, they got it all figured out. They're doing amazing. Behind closed doors, they're trying to figure out certain aspects of their business, just like you when you're just getting started. We're all in the same position in some way, shape, or form. There's areas of my business, I still don't know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And when you define what those areas are, and this is what I would suggest for someone to do that's listening to this, if you're new to entrepreneurship, really sit down and jot down on a piece of paper the top 5 things that your business needs right now, whether it's lead generation for revenue, whether it's understanding how to leverage social media, putting together a proper email drip campaign, how to really optimize your website with a landing page to collect emails that get funneled into a sequence. Really define where your business is right now and what it needs, and then go find someone that is an expert in that space. Every single year, Nancy and I have a third into the fourth quarter debrief. So we analyze where our company is by the end of the third quarter, and we write down the things that are really running smoothly and going well. Mm-hmm. And then we define the kinks in our hose. What are the areas of our business that are still not allowing the water to flow smoothly? Point in case, we really defined one of the big problems in our business is that we had too much of a disparity of active income versus passive income, meaning we were still getting hired for one-on-one consulting and this, that, or the other, which is great. It's drops in the bucket, but we weren't scaling the passive revenue streams that we have. And we wanted to switch that over. We wanted more passive income as opposed to more active income. So we really said, okay, what do we need to do? So we said, clearly, we need to learn how to grow and scale these memberships. So we did our research. We found Stu McLaren, who is the number one person to help scale and build memberships. That was our next investment. So again, and I wish more coaches were kind of transparent, just like I was right there, because you see all these people doing big things. And if they actually reveal to the audience, here's what I've been struggling with, and here's what I did to fix that. Just like you and I were in a coaching program together outside of the one that you were in with us, mm-hmm. We were learning how to launch and how to have a signature program. And it worked amazingly well for the both of us. And that was an area that Nancy and I defined that we needed help with. We needed to learn how to launch properly, how to create a signature program, and how to grow that. And that's why we joined Kelly Roach's program when we did last year. So again, you're always defining and refining what you're doing for your business, whether you're just starting out or whether you're into year 10.
Yeah, I love that. Hire a coach. And you said something, and I think it's really important for the audience, is it's not to create shortcuts. It's really to shorten the learning curve and collapse the time of making the mistakes on your own. Mm-hmm. And you said, write down top 5 things in your business that may be gaps that you guys may be looking for, and go find the experts in those things, because we can all get, as entrepreneurs, get distracted of what we think we need. And every day, just going on social media, we may think we need a lot of different things. That's why ads work so well. So I love all of that. And you are really known for building credibility or helping people and entrepreneurs build, on the platform of LinkedIn.
Mhm.
I'm curious to know, because that's not something that we hear all the time. We hear Instagram, we hear Facebook. I'm curious to know why that became the choice of platform, because you could have done all different platforms. TikTok, I mean, it seems like something's always going on, especially with these algorithms. Why LinkedIn?
So I thought about, again, from that passenger side perspective, not my perspective. I thought about my ideal client, my business avatar, and the person from an age demographic standpoint, from a monetary income standpoint, but also the size of the network that I could grow. And when I really started to do my research, and my mom still tells me to this day that facts are friendly, when I started, finding out all these factual things about LinkedIn compared to Facebook and Instagram, it was one of those kind of glaring, hit you in the face type of moments where you're like, I really need to use this thing. So it's the number one platform for B2B leads on all of social media. And it doesn't get talked about enough. 8 out of every 10 business first leads are coming from LinkedIn. And that's not even using the paid version. That's from the free version. So I started to uncover the demographics, 30 to 59 years old, average income, $100,000 a year or more. You can have 30,000 connections. And it's like, okay, the law of numbers are in my favor. There's people that can actually afford, because the biggest answer, and I would say rejection, so to speak, that we hear from people is, I can't afford it. I would love to, but I got to talk to my husband or wife or my partner. I got to put on a credit card. I don't have that. So I wanted to kind of mitigate and get rid of that disparity and really start networking and building relationships with people that actually saw not only value in what I brought to the marketplace, but where they wouldn't hesitate on investing, because I was solving a problem that they were looking to have solved. And I saw that two of the biggest problems that people have in entrepreneurship right now is lead generation, because basically that is the lifeline to our revenue stream. So if you don't have leads, you have no option and no ability to create meaningful connection with that person that leads to closing them into whatever your offering is. And the second thing is creating a platform and using a social media platform that has unbelievable visibility and traction. And LinkedIn is the number one social media platform for organic visibility, organic reach, and organic traction of any social media platform. So when I saw all this, it was one of those aha moments that we have in business, that I need to figure this thing out. I didn't take a course. I didn't hire anybody. This was completely something that I figured out on my own over the last almost 9 years. And I started to get significant traction in my business, but I realized that this is what it's all about. When you're in entrepreneurship and you're looking to build a business, it's not so much about the leads that you're generating. It's not so much about the sales that you're generating. It's all about the relationships that you build along the way. And I think people really discredit and push that to the side. They get into this mentality of, I want to be a millionaire. I want to sell. I want to, fully sell out this. But why are you doing that? Are you in it for the money, or are you in it for the impact? And we're in it for the impact. Mm-hmm. And when the impact is felt, that's when the income shows up. So I took the forward-thinking notion of, I'm going to do whatever it takes by any means necessary to build the best relationship possible with people on LinkedIn, so that if they're not a good fit for my business and they end up connecting with someone on LinkedIn and someone says, wow, I'd really like to learn how to use LinkedIn better, guess whose name they're going to remember? Mine. Mm-hmm. So I really started to understand that LinkedIn, number one, is the number one networking tool out there that people aren't using. But it's also one of the greatest platforms for not only lead generation, but for business referrals. And you don't need to spend all day on there. I created something called the 20-minute a day method. It's very easy. It's a rinse, wash, and repeat. So all of those factors build up over time, really quantify to me that this is the platform that people need to focus on. And just as you said, yeah, I could teach people stuff on Facebook. I can teach people stuff on Instagram, but that's not niche enough for me. Those platforms don't resonate with me on a business sense. Facebook resonates with me on a personal sense. I love sharing personal victories and things that are going on. Instagram is entertainment. It's where you entertain people so that people see that side of me when I do my reels. But I'm a businessman. I'm about business. I'm about building a relationship and helping people make money to really do good. And that's why LinkedIn has been my number one platform of choice. And it's why I'm still shouting about it from the rooftops. And it's starting to slowly land on more people, and just grateful to really be working with all the people that we are.
I love all of that. And you said that and I think it's so true in business and in life. It's really about the relationships, never the strategy, never. It's always the who that's going to get you to where you need to go. Right. And we've seen that over and over in business and how it has served us. So I'm curious to know, if somebody was starting on LinkedIn, we heard all the benefits of why we should be on it. What are your tips for somebody that wants to build credibility or something that they should be looking at? And I love your 20-minute rinse and repeat as well. So we'll have to add, if you have a opt-in or whatever, in our show notes.
Yeah. So this 20-minute a day methodology breaks down to something that I call the 4 layers of LinkedIn. The one thing that I've realized is that, people can get so overwhelmed with all of the different nuances of things that they need to do on social media. I wanted to kind of take out the overwhelm, the confusion, and everything else and say, listen, here are just 4 simple things you can do to get started on LinkedIn. I do have a free download for people if they go to my website, scottaaron.net. It's the first layer. So I want everyone to picture kind of like a layer cake, almost like a wedding cake. So, the way that a wedding cake looks, you have the big base at the bottom, and then you have smaller tiers where then you have the happy couple on top. Mm-hmm. If you remove the base of that cake, what happens?
It'll fall.
It topples over. So the base of everything that you are doing on LinkedIn and the way that you need to begin is optimizing your profile. And that's the free download I have on my website. It's called my LinkedIn Profile Optimizer. It's a 3-page download, but I'm going to describe what you're going to do right now. So when Microsoft purchased and bought out LinkedIn about 6 years ago, they embedded SEO, search engine optimization. So keyword searching. Just like Google. So if you go onto Google and you type in restaurants near me, and again, if those restaurants keyworded their websites correctly, guess what's going to pop up? Those restaurants that are nearest to you that keyworded things properly. The same thing goes for your profile. So what you need to think about is, again, this passenger side perspective, the PSP. What is my ideal client searching for on LinkedIn? So if I'm on LinkedIn, I'm a business professional and I need help in certain areas, whether it's lead generation, marketing strategy, brand visibility. And I know that's what they're struggling with, which is most likely what they're going to be searching for because it is a search engine. Guess what I'm going to put all over my profile? Lead generation, brand strategy, brand visibility, brand marketing. So in that headline section, which is underneath your first name, you're not putting your power statement. You're not putting your proposition statement. I help busy entrepreneurs free up time to make $80,000 a month. No one is going on LinkedIn and searching, how do I make $80,000 a month? Mm-hmm. They're not searching statements. They're searching keyword phrases. So you have to think about in the mind's eye of that person on the other side of the computer screen, and you put those keywords and you separate them. Marketing strategy, brand strategy, lead generation, business coaching, podcast host, all these keywords that are then able to be searched for. Now, just like putting that in your headline, you're going to flutter those words into multiple areas of your profile, whether it be your About Me section, your experience section when you're describing the different businesses that you have, licenses and certifications, education, all of those things. You have to realize that your LinkedIn profile is not a resume. It's the homepage to your business. This is where people go to find out who you are, what you do, how you do it, and who you serve. Now, there's an area of your profile called personal recommendations. This is almost like it's where people go to shout your praises. It's testimonials. If anyone goes to my profile on LinkedIn, you'll see at the bottom, I have about 490 written recommendations. So I don't have to convince people anymore that they need to work with me. I let the nearly 500 people that wrote do that for me. So you want your credibility to scream so loudly on your profile that people actually start reaching out to you to hire you. And that's what happens every single week to me on LinkedIn. So really making sure that you first optimize your profile, highlighting those things, but from the standpoint of, if I was my ideal client and I visited my profile, would it be clear as to what I do, how I do it, and who I serve? Because you want to attract the right people to it. You want to create this journey for that person that's visiting your profile where they're like, man, Raquel has exactly what I'm looking for. So that's the first layer. The second layer is then building that ideal network that's going to attract people to your profile. So there's two types of connections that you want to have on LinkedIn. A, ideal client, customer, consumer. So that PSP, that passenger side person, that ideal person that if you invite them to connect, they're going to see an immediate relatability between you and them, where they're going to be like, makes perfect sense why they're wanting to connect. I already see value in what they do by what they state in their headline. I'm going to accept that connection. The second type of connection you want to have is a power partner, meaning that person that you can connect with, you can collaborate with, but also you can gain referrals to and from. So an easy example is this. Say I had a business that taught in-person personal trainers how to move their business online to grow an online personal training practice. Mm-hmm. My ideal client would be other personal trainers that do not have an online business. My power partner would be fitness club owners, because a fitness club owner employs my ideal client. So when I start connecting with these gym owners, hey, this is what I do. Who can I refer you to? And here's who I'm looking to connect with. If anyone comes top of mind, would love the introduction. So now you have not only these warm connections coming into the ideal client, you have these warm business connections of referral partners that you're building over time. So now you're building your network. The next layer is doing your outbound messaging. So people tend to kind of sit back and wait for the skies to open up and drop people into your lap and saying, hey, here's my money. Growing a business is a contact sport. You have to reach out to people because they don't know what it is that you have of value if you don't share it with them. So I have a messaging strategy called the Magic Formula. It's a 3-step process to crafting a message that fits you and your business. And I'm going to give you an example right now. So again, I'm business coach. I'm just going to be very general. I connect with Raquel, and she's another business coach, and I help other business coaches do X, Y, Z. So I send Raquel a connection request. She accepts. A day or two later, not the next hour, a day or two later, I would casually reach out to her in a very organic and genuine way. And I break it down into 3 steps. Step 1, state the person's name in a relaxed fashion. Hey, Raquel, so great to be connected to you. Not dear Raquel, comma, space, indent, next paragraph. Because number 1, that's too professional and stuffy. It's not inviting. It's not warm. But number 2, it mimics the automated software that a lot of people are using, which goes against the user agreement of LinkedIn, because you cannot have anyone connecting and messaging either for you or using an automated service to do so. So a lot of people are getting these 18 paragraph long drunkalog verbal vomit messages of people saying, oh, click this link to book a call, watch this video, check this out. And all it's doing is pushing people away instead of inviting them closer. So you make it a very relaxed opening. Hey, Raquel, great to be connected to you. The second thing you do is something I call bridging the gap or lowering the drawbridge. You want to invite that person across. So it's very clear the connecting point between you and them. So I would state something like, I noticed that you were a business coach, as am I. Would love to hear how things are going, share more about what I'm up to and how we can support one another here on LinkedIn. Very clear, very warm, very specific, but I'm also bridging that gap. Mm-hmm. So when Raquel is reading that message, it's clear. Oh, I'm a business coach. He's a business coach. That's why he's reaching out. But the most important thing I did is I used the second most important word in the English language, which is support. Mm-hmm. So there was a scientific study done that when someone actually reads the word support and actually says it in their head, it triggers their brain to release a chemical that we have called oxytocin. This is our feel-good brain chemical. So much like dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, cortisol, this person is feeling good as they're reading this message. So it's lowering the wall of resistance and it's raising the level of connection. The final thing you do is you finish with a CTA, a call to action. Statements lead to nowhere. Questions lead to answers. You have to ASK to GET. You have to ask in order to get. So if I didn't say, just let me know when's good for you, well, Raquel's going to never let me know because I haven't asked when is good. So all I have to say is, do you have any time this week or next week for a call or a Zoom? That's it. You state the name in a relaxed fashion, warmly create that connecting point, and finish with that call to action. So now you've optimized your profile. It's speaking to that ideal client. You're connecting with the right people. You're messaging them the right way. But what about the people that don't respond to my message that I call spectators? They're the ones that just kind of watch. They may read your message and not respond. They may not respond at all. How do I engage with those people? Well, that's the fourth layer, and that's your content creation. Content is everything on LinkedIn. When you are producing content on LinkedIn, it needs to do two different things. It needs to educate your audience, or it needs to inform them, make them aware of something. And you're always looking to produce content that is solving a need. It's filling a gap or a hole in that person's business. You're not producing content to shout your praises or egoically talk about you and how great you are. Going back to the PSP, the passenger side perspective, all of your content should be produced from the notion of the person on the other side of that computer screen. What is it that that person needs to know right now that I can produce a piece of content that's going to bring them closer to me and not push them further away? So I always tell people the best thing to do on LinkedIn is to start with 3 posts per week. 1 post on Monday, 1 post on Wednesday, and 1 post on Friday. Not 3 times an hour, not 3 times a day like other platforms, just 3 times a week. And here's how it breaks down. Monday, you're going to do a video. Wednesday, you're going to do a poll question. And Friday, you're going to do a long form post or article, your choice. Now, as far as the video goes, it doesn't have it to be anything fancy. It's just a 2 to 4 minute video that you're giving some free tangible tips and takeaways. You know, what I wanted to talk about in today's video is 3 ways to generate organic leads online. And number 1 is this, short explanation. Number 2 is this, short explanation. Number 3 is this, short explanation. Leave your comments below. Which of the 3 tips helped you most? Have a great day. Boom, you're done. You're leading with value. You do that on Mondays. Video is still the number 1 way to create connection with people that don't know you because they can see you and they can hear you and they can feel you. Wednesday is when you're going to do a poll question. So people do polls on Facebook and Instagram all the time. LinkedIn also has the same capability. Why I love poll questions so much? It's your market research. You can't look into a crystal ball and predict what people are struggling with. So how do you up the ability for you to have the notion and understanding of what people are struggling with? You ask questions. So you would simply create a poll question on LinkedIn. What is the biggest area of struggle in your business right now? Number 1, leads. Number 2, revenue. Number 3, consistency. Now people are voting. And then you can see from that market research data what people are struggling most with. And guess what you do? On Friday, You take whatever vote or whatever answer was voted most on, and you create a piece of content that fills the gap and void with that problem. So say people said, creating consistency in my business. Great. Now you can create a long form post or an article teaching people 5 ways to be consistent in your business. So all you're doing is looking to fill the void and the need that people have. People are on LinkedIn for 2 reasons: to network with others and to have their business improved. So as long as you are networking with others and you are doing things each and every day on there to help people improve their business without asking for anything back in return, you're going to win.
Oh my gosh, you dropped so much gold in that one question. I mean, like, I'm sure our listeners are going to rewind, pause, write things down, because there was a lot of that. And like, you even touched on how to build connection in LinkedIn, how to build that and establish that connection really quickly by some of those steps that you outlined. Now let's go to the flip side of that. What are some of the biggest mistakes people that you see people are making on LinkedIn?
So I touched on it earlier. The idea of hiring a marketing firm to connect and message for you is very disingenuous. It's very inauthentic, and it's not you. If you don't have time to take 20 minutes out of your day to go on to LinkedIn, to genuinely connect and message people, to have conversations offline, you shouldn't use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is for people that actively want to build relationships with people, which, to just be honest with you, the most successful business owners in the world are the ones that network and build the best relationships with people in the world. The other thing that I think people make the mistake is this spray and pray methodology, where they just connect with anyone and everyone that has a pulse, but also they really don't take the consideration of how something might land on someone else. Meaning they use an automated service that connects and messages for them, or the messages that they are sending, even if it's organically being sent by them, they're pitching and selling them right from the onset. They're not even caring about A, getting to know the person, or B, building the relationship first. The third thing that I think people are making mistakes of on LinkedIn is treating it like Facebook and Instagram. Not all social media platforms were made the same. Mm-hmm. And a simple rule of thumb is whatever you're posting on Facebook and Instagram, if it's non-business related, never bring it onto LinkedIn. I'm seeing so many people post their TikTok videos on LinkedIn and their reels on LinkedIn, and just all this clickbait stuff and showing too much skin and things that you would see on Instagram. You only get one shot at a great first impression with people in your business. And as soon as you really kill that first impression, your credibility is shot. Mm-hmm. And it may be really hard to ever get it back. So you really have to think about is, how can I show up every single day on LinkedIn as my true, genuine, and authentic self, where I'm leaving the lives of those that I'm connected to or that see my content better than before. So instead of trying to spam or, message someone the wrong way, think about how you would feel if someone messaged you that way. How would it feel if someone sent you that 18 paragraph long drunkalog that did not even care about you as a person, you as a business owner, or what you do? Would you respond to it? And Nancy and I talk about it all the time. It's a smell test. If it stinks, don't send it. So really continue to put yourself in the shoes of that person that you're looking to connect with. Connection always wins. The greatest business tool that each one of us has is our ability to create true, genuine human connection with other people. And those that use it most often are the ones that are going to win in business.
It's so true, because I think I have a lot of unread messages, because you can see a little bit on your phone and you can just tell almost instantly that it's spam, that somebody else is doing it. And they all kind of start the same way, or they have that same smell, that same flavor, like you guys talked about.
Hey, Raquel, how are things going in this weird climate of the pandemic?
Looks like we have mutual friends.
Like, I mean, people it's funny because people think we're stupid as business owners. Like, we could see right through that. It's so glaring that you could care less about what I do. I actually come back on people. So I had this one person that sent me this horrendous message. And I actually wrote back. I said, do you actually send this to people? And again, they didn't write back because, again, I want people, and again, I'm not being mean or rude. I want the mirror turned around on them. I want them to really start to really look inward and say, maybe I have to rethink my strategy here. Maybe I'm going about this the wrong way. Maybe I'm getting the wrong advice from the wrong person and I should be looking elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. You couldn't have said it any better. And one of the things as we wrap up that I love to ask all of our guests is, what is one thing that Scott Aaron does to play bigger in business and in life?
I would say keeping mindful of my boundaries in my life. The way that we've been able to grow and scale our business is by making sure the hours that we are awake are more focused on living our life than working in our business. Because we get 24 hours in a day, and I don't want to go back to that old life that I had where the hours that I was awake outside of the 2 hours before I went to bed after the gym was spent just working. Now, I work 3 days a week. I wake up at 6 o'clock every morning. Work doesn't start until 10. So I have 4 hours of my day in the very morning to myself. We're done work at 6. We don't go to bed till 10. So I have 8 hours every single day, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday that are me. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that is 24 hours. That's all mine. And the strange thing is, the less that I have worked and the more boundaries I have put around my life and business, our income has increased each and every year.
Oh, so good. I always say that, like, you know what, when you can put boundaries and you can actually have deadlines and know where you want to go. And you talked about it earlier, the whole active versus passive. And that's the same thing in real estate, right? It's like, how do we create more passive income so that like the active is almost just fun?
100%.
Right? Where can people connect with you and find you today? You've dropped so many nuggets.
Yeah, LinkedIn, obviously.
Yeah, LinkedIn, right?
Find me on LinkedIn. My website houses everything that I do. It's scottaaron.net. You can also go to our agency website, which is thetimetogrowth.com. That lists a lot of some of the marketing stuff that we do, workshops that we have upcoming. And if you just Google Scott Aaron, I'll come up. You can find my podcast. It's on iTunes, Spotify. It's called Networking and Marketing Made Simple. I have a couple academies out there, Facebook, Instagram. I love connecting with people. So don't be shy, reach out, and would love to connect with you.
Thank you so much for being on our show today. I appreciate this conversation. I could go on and on asking you all the questions because you are a wealth of knowledge. And I want to make sure that our listeners do connect with you because I know that they're blown away today. And you've got some really incredible workshops, academies, programs, membership you kind of talked about that I know that our listeners are going to get value out of today. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Raquel. You crushed it, and just so honored and grateful to be here with you today.